show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show.
Oh, do me a favor while you do that, put the keyboard in here, the stand. You use the keyboard when you got out here. Black bag. Okay, yeah. So just put that watch on the piano.
All right, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Thank you so much over there, Ahmad, who's helping Phil Walters-Cooke today in the background. You're making this all possible. We did some changing around to make sure that we were able to see Mr. Phil Walters here. Glad to have you, Phil. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic, Balance Doctor. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, and I'm so excited to have you on with us. Everyone in the virtual studio audience, make sure you all tag your friends and let everybody know that we're talking today with Phil Walters-Cooke, and we're going to be going on a journey to just hear his story, hear the background of what's been happening in his life. Lots of changes have occurred. He comes here on the Kim Jacobs Show as a Freestyle Friday expert that I met, and he's a blind man but full of vision. So I invited him to be a guest on the show as a vision expert, not having any clue that this man ultimately would have this story to share on the Kim Jacobs Show. So I'm eager for us to grab our virtual seats. And Ahmad, the social media places didn't get connected. So when you can, just make sure during the commercial break that we connect those, and it should be going everywhere where he has visitors as well. So grab your virtual seats, share the broadcast, and know that Mr. Phil Walters-Cooke, who has been performing since he was 9 years old, and he's been playing the piano for about 17 years or so at this point, is here today on the show. So welcome, Mr. Phil. How are you over there?
I am doing fantastic. This is a great day. Wasn't sure I was going to be doing this outdoors today, so you're going to hear a lot of nature today. But thank God it's not exactly cooking out here like it was the other day. So, yeah.
That's interesting that you say hearing a lot of nature, because the nature, the birds are chirping so vibrantly, and you can see the scenery behind you, and what I think from your perspective is probably different than other people that have all of these different senses that we have. What is it like for you when you're hearing nature as a blind male?
It's what I call ear candy. It's like ear candy because it's in full stereo. Thank God I still got these and they work, right? My satellite antennas. But it's like ear candy. You know, I can hear the birds over to the right. You got some crickets over to the left. You know, the squirrels usually are dropping acorns on the top of my new temporary space, which we'll talk about that in a little bit too. So it's all around me. It's all around me.
Wow. And how in tune do you recommend other people? Because sometimes, I know I can only speak for Kim. Sometimes in the hustle and bustle of life, I'm just going through my regular day and my regular routine. But when we think about how we are balancing our lives, there are times when I just take a moment and stop and say, what is happening around me? I look up in the sky, I hear the sounds, and attribute those to some of the blessings that I have in my life. What are your advice or tips for those that have our senses to still benefit from just hearing?
Wow, that's a powerful question. So I encourage everybody to close your eyes, right? Because we can be fooled by the temporal, right? What we see with our eyes, right? Close your eyes and open your mind, right? And to be able to pick up everything that's going on around you. We're so used to basing everything or depending so much on what we see. And there's so much going on in the world, so much more than just what we see. And if you take a little time, close your eyes, shut the TV off, right? Shut the world off, cut your phone off. And if you get a chance to take a walk in the park, just get in tune to nature and listen to what nature is saying, right? There's so much going on that we don't focus on.
That's so good. Actually, if we could just take a moment right now, because with with Phil being where he is in nature out there in the yard, there are so many things that I can hear, and I want to just take like 30 seconds and just let's hear what we're hearing in his background. Let's just take a moment. Mm, interesting. Wow. Now I can hear the wind. I heard the birds, but I heard the birds word more distinctly when we first were talking than I
Yeah,
did this time.
they're
But
responding. They're responding to our conversation.
that's interesting because they got completely quiet, like we got quiet, and before when we were talking, they were chirping the whole time. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, yeah. Watch this.
Wow. That is powerful because how often do people even do that? Just
Right.
being able to sit in nature and communicate with other beings in nature. That is beautiful illustration. I know that's not what we're talking about today, everybody, but again, this shows how we're balancing our lives. He was in a studio in front of this gorgeous piano, and we shifted everything for us to be able to have a better view of him. And he was very accommodating. So I'm just really I'm glad to hear that example that if we take time to connect with nature, nature kind of wants to connect with us too.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
All right, y'all, we have a great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking with Phil Walters here, and he has a story to tell. When we come back right after this first commercial break, I want you to take us back to some of your younger years where you didn't even know what's happening now in your life. Take us back, and then we're going to go forward throughout this episode. We'll be right back,
I'm
everybody.
attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
And okay.
All right, we're back, y'all, and we're talking with Mr. Phil Walters-Cooke here on the Kim Jacobs Show. And talk to us, Mr. Phil, about your background, your younger years.
Oh wow. I was born by the river, Harlem River, in 1963 to a mom who was a queen named Louise Rose Walters, and a Mr. Sam Cooke, who was a very, very successful singer back in that time. I was born one of a total of 10 children.
Wow.
There was always music in my house, always. My mom, she thought she was Ella Fitzgerald II.
Okay.
You know, and one of my sisters thought we were going to be the next Jackson 5, so she had us all with our afros lining up, you know, do the music and everything like that. It was hilarious. But I was raised in Harlem in the Bronx. I spent most of my time toggling between those two boroughs. And the first time I really got serious about music, I was 9 years old. There was a play upstate that they were giving in this theater. I don't even remember the name of the play, but I remember coming out for my part, and I stood in front of all those people, and that's when I got the bug.
So you knew at 9 years old that you were going to start performing musically.
Yeah, yeah.
And you and your mom, how did she encourage you in that endeavor?
She just loved music. You know, obviously she loved music, right?
Yeah, literally in love with music and
Right?
musician.
Right. But it was always music in the house, and it was always people in the house. Of course, she was very strict about y'all stay out of grown folks' place and stay out of their face and stay out of their way.
Mhm.
So we oftentimes would be peeking out the bedroom door trying to see who's out there, and then we come out in the morning and eat the leftovers, you know, the candy and stuff or whatever was left out, popcorn, you know, and stuff like that. But she was always singing, always scatting like Ella Fitzgerald, you know, and it used to tickle me so much I couldn't stop laughing, you know. And I think she did it half the time because it made me laugh, you know.
That's funny. And other children, because you said you were one of 10. So were other children more musically inclined as well?
Glad you asked that, Kim. I have an older brother who he used to sing back in the day, and where they did the doo wop and all of that kind of thing.
Right.
Did his singing. He had a group that he was in up in New York for a while. And of course, I was much younger than him, so I didn't get a chance to really see him. I'm finding out a lot of this stuff later on too, because I been in touch with one of his friends who was in the group with him.
Okay.
And then I have a brother who was in the rap game, and he never signed a deal, but he was pretty accomplished rapper in the Bronx.
So just an accomplished family of they had some type of musical gifts. Now, did you have the same father that because I know your story about your dad, but were they also his children?
Yeah, we had some different daddies.
Okay, different daddy. We'll leave it at that. Okay, different baby mama, daddy, and all of that, right? Okay. So so your mom, who was musically inclined, she sounded similar to Ella Fitzgerald. She would just kind of walk around the house and use her gifts and talents. How did she end up connecting with your father? Do you know that story?
I can tell you is she was also a dancer.
Okay.
So she did, the dancing thing. And he's a singer. So in '62, somehow they connected and did what grown-up people do. In 1963, March 28th, I popped into the world. Um, Unfortunately, that year in June, um, Sam lost Vincent, which was a toddler at 2, which was my half brother.
Okay.
He drowned in the pool in California.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you already know that a year later on, in December the 11th, 1964, Sam was murdered in California. So, yeah.
And so when he was murdered in California, you at that point obviously hadn't had a relationship with him and didn't know that he was your dad, correct?
I was less than 2. And believe it or not, I can tell you what I remember. And this is the thing that stands out in my mind the most is I know my mother went to Chicago. That was one of 2 funerals, Chicago and Los Angeles. Because the plane, I cried pretty much the whole flight. It was noisy. Think about this, 1964 crop duster. You're talking about, I'm assuming it was propellers, it was loud.
Right.
For that, and I remember all of these legs. Being that small, all these people, all I remember is all of these people. It was very sad, and I remember these fragments of that. She, as far as I know, she never went to the LA funeral, the California funeral. She went to the Chicago funeral.
Interesting. So now fast forward, because again, you were 2, so you obviously couldn't remember much at that phase in your life. But
Right.
at the end of the day, your mom had some kind of connection with him where she went and did celebrate his life in some regard at one of the 2 locations based on what you're saying. So when you continue on in your own journey, you're growing up in your childhood, and are you growing up not knowing that he was your father? Why was it a secret that he was your dad? Is there something that your
Yeah,
mom decided, oh, I'm not going to tell you what happened?
right. You're absolutely correct. Not a clue. Me and my mom used to have these. Well, she'd always win, of course, but we'd have these battles. I'm like, hey, mom, I try to slip it in slick once in a while. You dance, mama. You were a dancer. And so where does this voice come from? And she, who's daddy? And she'd go with, to that whole defensive thing. And am I not good enough for you? Why you keep asking about him? And she knew that was the one thing that'll get me to stop asking. And I realized later on, Kim, that she was trying to protect me because my dad died at 33 and he died a horrible death. And I often think about how much more he could have contributed, had he still been here. How many people he could have still mentored. How much more music even at 32, he was thinking about retiring and just bringing up Bobby Womack and bringing up, the Valentinos, which was a group Bobby Womack was in.
Yeah.
And a lot of the other groups, that he was working with his own label and publishing company. Because you remember, he started out as a teenager with the Soul Stirrers, the gospel group. He started out with them in teenage years, 15, 16 years old. He was with them. So by the time he was 33, he had already had a major, 2 careers.
Right.
But in her way, I believe that she was trying to protect me.
I'm glad you're saying this, because nobody knows really why a parent makes a decision on behalf of something of this magnitude. And easily, like you say, she could have just said, "Oh boy, I was with your daddy back in this day. We stopped that. We had this situation, and it produced you as our love child," and just called it a day and gave you that opportunity to know. But on the flip side, with him dying at a young age, she may have, like you said, may wanted to have shielded you from any heartache, heartbreak, possible attempt on your own life. It's a lot of different reasons that can come through a situation that we don't always know all the details for. And so I'm glad that you pointed that out, that there are parents out here. And again, this show is about how we balance our lives. So there are parents that have sons and daughters, and the sons and daughters don't know who their mom or dad might be. Right. And so but it's a conscious choice that the parent made. What advice do you give people that may be an adult that still does not know who their biological father or mother is?
I'm gonna answer that in 2 parts. One part from the child's perspective. Mm-hmm. Trust me when I tell you, because I'm gonna share this miracle with you, Kim. God will give you clues, but understand this: however you got here, you matter. Whatever vessel God chose to get you here, or whoever he chose to get you here through, you matter, you have value, and you are as unique as your fingerprint. And God did that too. Amen?
Amen. You can't say it any better than that. No matter what the circumstance, what the situation, no matter whether it was whatever the case may be, if you made it here on this earth, God has some type of plan for your life and a purpose for you. And I'm grateful that you took that angle with the answer. Wow. Okay. So listen, y'all, we're talking with Phil Walters-Cooke, because he recently found out that he is the son of legendary singer Sam Cooke. So if you have questions and comments, definitely pop them in the comment section over here, and I'll actually pull some of those up and we'll answer them. Good morning, Mother Wandra. Audrey is on today. Glad to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Have a blessed day. Let's see who else is on here. My mom said, "Good morning, Kim and Miss
Mom."
You know she on here. My mama on here.
For the next family cookout, I'll be there.
And Shirley Murphy is on here. She is a global sensation and does a lot with women internationally and globally, recognizing women around the world. And so I want to welcome you, Shirley Murphy. I see you, Dr. Frantonia Pollins, and thank you so much for tuning in today. And all of you that are tuning in from wherever you are, share the broadcast and encourage people to watch Phil Walters-Cooke, who's right here with us today on the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, I want to talk about when you experienced something that changed your entire life. You were full of sight before, but then something happened and it changed things forever for you in that regard. So I want to talk about that when we come right back, right after this break. We'll be right back, everyone.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
Okay.
All right, everyone, we are back and we're talking with Phil Walters-Cooke, who recently found out that his dad is legendary singer Sam Cooke. And for those of you that don't know who Sam Cooke is, we all, I think the whole world knows who he is. He's a singer that has made headways along his career. Actually, he was an A student back in Wendell Phillips High School in 1948, most likely to succeed, and I think he actually did that very well. The King of Soul, he was actually voted by that and Rolling Stone magazine in 2023 at number 3 out of 200 greatest singers of all times. So he's one of the most influential soul artists of all time, the King of Soul. And his son is here with us today, Phil Walters, to share his story. So Phil, tell us when some things took an interesting turn in your life.
Okay. Just before I do that, and I'm more than happy to do it, I just got to make a small correction. I actually found out before the end of 2006.
Oh, so you just told me, because when I met you, you were the Freestyle Friday expert on the Kim Jacobs show. I had no idea about nothing to do with no Sam Cooke or anything. I just met this man that was going to be a part of our Freestyle Friday panel.
Yes, ma'am. You don't just get a bombshell like that and just, hey, boom. So, and I'm going to segue into this. This is how we're going to do it. Valentine's Day of 2006, I lost my eyesight.
Okay.
Losing my eyesight, Kim, I gained my vision. Up until that point, there was no question I believed in God. There's no question. My mom read the Bible. My grandmother, taught her what she could teach her in Harlem. We go back to Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
My grandmother came to Harlem, I think late 40s, early 50s, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then when she had my mom, we were in Harlem and in the Bronx. That was our 2 areas.
Yeah.
But I did not have a relationship with God. I used God like a credit card. When I wanted something, oh Lord, please, 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 please. And when I got it, I put the credit card back in my back pocket, in my wallet, and it went about my business.
Wow.
But losing my eyesight due to hereditary, my grandmother was blind, my mother had glaucoma. We've had complications with the family with eyes. Just the baby girl, she came out with 20/20 plus. So actually, God, saved the best for last, if you want to put it that way. But yeah, she's got great vision. But in 2006, I lost on Valentine's Day. I prefer the chocolates, but it is what it is.
Right.
But I had, before my mom died, which is on my baby girl with the 20/20 vision's birthday, my baby sister, she died on her birthday. All of it came out. So I was already in a depression because I lost my eyesight.
And you just lost your eye. There was no warning or anything. Just on Valentine's 2006, you just lost your eyesight.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Actually, I was told when I was little I'd probably be blind at the age of 13.
Okay, so you had some foreknowledge that this could happen based on some of the hereditary things that were happening in your family already. So they were kind of predicting that this could happen in your lifetime, that you would go blind.
Absolutely. And I had lost my right eye already due to a retina detachment at 7.
Okay.
So I kept the left eye, praise God, up until 42. And then the lights went out on the left eye. So I have a certain personality type. If I take on something, I'm going to give it everything I got.
I can tell.
I was going to take on depression. I was going to master it. So I ordered all of these. I'm being silly now. Confetti and balloons. And I had a pity party for one, which lasted 2.5 years.
It lasted how long?
2.5 years.
2.5 years you went into a self, like, I'm over this. I'm
Done.
upset. This is overwhelming.
Done. I
Mm.
had the fascinating thing, Kim, is although up until that point I didn't know who my dad was, I paralleled his life career wise. I had my own production. Well, I'm on my second production company.
Right.
At a recording studio in Baltimore at the time. I went to Sheffield Institute for the Recording Arts in Phoenix, Maryland. If there's any A-lister performers on your show today listening, y'all know the studio.
Oh yeah, everybody knows Sheffield Studio.
Lisa Franklin, Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey, Anthony Hamilton, you name it, records at that studio. And I have an engineering degree from that studio. I'm actually recording my dad's remake, A Change Gonna Come, for the 60th year anniversary there now.
Yes.
Now we're about 85% done. But getting back to the pity party, so I sold my whole production company, all the equipment, about $40,000, $50,000 worth of stuff to a for $800. I was done.
$800?
$800.
Okay. So you were really done. You had the intention of, that's it. I'm over this. I'm not dealing with music anymore. I'm trading in my cards for something else, type of thing.
So not only
Wow.
was I done, there were a lot of people around me, as my dad used to say back in the day, hangers-ons. When the money stopped, they disappeared. No pun intended. You know,
Right.
a lot of things dried up. I had connections with labels. I was working on some stuff. Had communications with Jive Records, which is Zamba Group is the parent company. I was shopping local artists out of Baltimore. I was relocating the whole company to Rocky Mount, North Carolina, because they had a building there, 9,000 square feet for $58,900.
That's unheard of. Okay.
Thank you. It was a fixer-upper, but it even had an apartment in it. I was going to live in there. I had the whole thing laid out. So, long story short, lost my eyesight, went into the pity party, went into what I call a cocoon. Okay, grew a beard. I had a family member said I looked like Osama bin Laden one time. My beard got so long, but it was necessary because God had to get my attention. He did not cause my blindness, but He allowed certain things to transpire to get my attention. I know that with all my heart now.
Okay.
And after about 2.5 years of the pity party, I had a family member in Rocky Mount one day who used to ask me for 2 years, you like to go to church with me Sunday? And I said, I'll let you know. And this one Sunday, I felt it so strong in my spirit. He didn't ask.
He didn't ask that one Sunday, but you decided you wanted to go?
And he started walking to the door. And I felt it on my spirit, like, if you don't get up and go, you may not ever. And I told him, I said, I'm ready. And he said, I'll pick you up 10:30. Be ready. And that was my journey back into the world and back into music. Because God used me as an amateur keyboard player in that church to learn how to play the gospels that were being sung at that time, 2008, 2009, to help me. I gained more from it than they ever did as me as a musician.
Wow. So you came into the church and started playing the piano, and now obviously about 17 years or so later, you have mastered being able to play the piano blind.
I'm still a student, but I'm a lot better than I was back then.
But you also teach people, because I've had some other Freestyle Friday experts, Kiwan, Amy, and different people that are also blind, but they are some of our vision experts, and they've been coached by you. So you train other people how to play the piano, right?
And listen, when I need advanced lessons, you know who I go to?
Who?
Joseph Wooten.
He's one of our freestyle. I did not know this whole connection. This is crazy. I'm only just seeing you all as experts on the Kim Jacobs show for different areas, but you all are all connected in some regard. So Joseph Wooten, who is a part of the Wooten Brothers band, and what is the other band he's a part of? The Steve Miller Band, right?
Yes. Did you know he actually has a song with Whitney Houston?
Yes, he has a lot of Joseph Wooten's songs are internationally renowned, and he definitely played with he was with Whitney Houston in the younger years. So definitely check out Joseph Wooten.
He started Kashif, way back when, right? A lot of people from up north know that name, Kashif.
Kashif. Oh yeah, everybody know about Kashif too.
Yeah, they're dropping a single. I'll be in your town September 29th. He's dropping a new single, him and the Wooten Brothers, at a spot in you can look it up because I forgot the name of it, but he's going to be performing in Charlotte on the 29th.
Well, I was at the last time him and Stephanie came to Charlotte. They performed at the Lowe's Motor Speedway then. And so I was there. I was screaming and hollering in the crowd, and I was getting some special treatment from the Wooten family. I was like, "Look at this!" I hadn't even been at anything like that ever, like talking about it. So that was awesome.
Can I share this with you?
Yes.
God is a connector, right?
Yeah.
Steve Miller's 78 years old now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got it, right? He was raised in Chicago. He actually covered one of my dad's songs, You Send Me. He did a Beach Boys feel to it back in the 70s.
Wow.
Y'all pray for me. I'm really trying to pitch this idea. I got to call his management to do a duet with Steve Miller of my dad's song, You Send Me, in concert, because I saw them in Pompano Beach, Florida. I flew down there to see Joseph Wooten, and I had the time of my life because my birthday was the 28th of March.
I remember that, and you were connecting with him that weekend. That's oh my gosh. This is great. This is a great story. I didn't even know all of those dots.
Tim Jacobs show. Yeah.
Thank God. Who knew, right? That God will use you to connect some other people together. So when you found out that you were blind, you went through the pity party, you came out because you did go and kind of give your life to the Lord and started being used by God to minister through some of the gifts and talents that you had. What advice would you give people that are going through their own pity parties in life right now? And it may not be due to blindness, but just because they're experiencing some difficult times in their lives.
Don't give up, right? Because to be so close to the light, but the darkness is covering you, right? Don't give up. Fight through the darkness. Fight through the darkness.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Sometimes we have to go through. I had to go through. I did so much purging. God showed me visions and dreams. He showed me COVID. I didn't know that's what it was.
Right.
I saw thousands of hospital beds with people intubated in different positions. They were not moving, so many of them. And I didn't know that's what it was until COVID. But because God had me in a position where there was no music in my house, there was no radio, there was no television. I barely had visitors. Shout out to the Harrises for keeping me alive. They're two angels here on earth, 58 going on 59 years of marriage down in Rocky Mount. And God used them to save my life.
Oh my gosh. So when people are going through turmoil in their own lives, it's important for other people to reach out. And because sometimes people you don't know, and this is just, again, my perspective, you don't really know who to reach out to when you see somebody going through, because you don't know if they're really open to receiving whatever kind of help you're trying to give. And I'm a big believer that you should only really help the way the person wants to be helped. Other than that, you're kind of in the way. It's like, help me the way I need to be helped. I don't need all this other stuff. This is what I'm struggling with. So if you want to help me this way. What advice do you have about stuff like that when it comes to helping people that are in circumstances?
First and foremost, pray.
Pray.
God will reveal to you exactly not only what they need, but how you need to present it to them. Because we can have all the energy and all the desire and and drive to want to do a good work. But if we don't operate in the spirit, we could mess it up.
That's right.
Because it may be a situation where don't bring me chocolate if I'm allergic to it. Find out what it is that I need.
Right.
Right. What is going to help me through it? Sometimes it's just a good listener. It's not always things. It's company.
That's good advice, Phil Walters. Phil Walters Cooke. All right. So you find out about your dad in 2006. And what does that do for you? How did you find out about him? What did your mom finally reveal it to you? Tell us, how did you find out that he's your dad?
Yes, ma'am. I always get excited when I come on your show. I don't mean to be over talking, but I get excited.
Talk your head off. We have this whole hour. Talk.
You know how the elders, before they leave the earth, they want to clean. They want to come clean. They want to, just put it all out on the line. So I joke. I did this yesterday on another show. I put this joking scenario together just to kind of give a little humor to it. Just imagine sitting at the breakfast table, your mom sitting across from you, and she goes, baby, pass me the toast. You pass her the toast. Oh,
There
honey, can you pass me the butter? You pass her the butter, and give me a little bit of that bacon. Mama. Oh, by the way, your dad is Sam Cooke. Can you get me the orange juice?
Wait, where'd you go back? What did you say?
What, baby? So it didn't happen exactly that way, but it all came out. It all came out. But remember I told you early on about how God will give you signs, even if you, listen, if my dad was the sanitation worker in New York and he bust his butt every day to feed his family, that's my superstar, right?
Right.
So it's not the whole, oh, your dad is Sam Cooke. Listen, we should be even more excited that our dad is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Get excited about that.
Yes.
But it just so happens to be, and I'm not the only one. I have other siblings out here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it all came out. I first didn't know how to process it because all the emotions came. You go through it. Man, if I'd have known when I was in my teenagers, I would have been pop.
Right.
I'd be dead today. Who knows? Right? So when I said earlier, I know in my heart now, because God revealed it to me, she did the best she thought she could at the time to protect. Right. But the miracle is this: God was throwing hints at me for years, and I was just like,
well, give an example of a hint or two that you felt like so you had in your spirit at some point that this might be your dad.
You ready for this?
Yes, please.
Jump out your chair. Mama is too. Watch this. Right? My baby mama, right? I've been married 3 times. Y'all don't judge me.
Okay, we're not judging you. Go on.
We went down to Murfreesboro, North Carolina. I mean, country.
Okay.
If you ain't got a headlight on your car, you ain't seeing Nathan, okay? We're at our beautiful people. You could tell they weren't rich, but they were spirit. They fed us like we were kings.
Okay.
All of a sudden, before I left, one of the aunts gives me a CD. I'm like, okay. I turn to the back, and it's this Hampton dude with an afro, with a suit, shirt, no tie, right? And he's looking, he's got this smile, and he's looking at me. And he's got caramel colored skin, and I'm going, hey, that's nice. Oh, Sam Cooke, greatest hits. Okay, I'll give it a listen. Hint number 1.
Your aunt was giving you a hint.
Hint number 1, she's a seer. Hint number 2.
So this, let me put a picture up for a second. Let me put a picture up. So this caramel gentleman, according to your description of your dad, is on the back of a CD cover, and it's like, okay, I'll listen to him.
RCA Victor. They released this compilation of his greatest hits years ago.
Okay, so that was hint number 1. Okay.
Right? So we're down there with my toddler, who is Candace Ann Walters.
Okay.
Birthday is January 22nd. Ask me who else's birthday is January 22nd. Look it up.
Who else's birthday is January 22nd?
Sam Cooke, my dad. Hint number 2.
Okay.
I still don't get it.
In 1931. January 22nd, 1931. Okay, go ahead.
I got a friend who took me years ago to the Museum of Television and Radio.
Okay.
In New York. Turn on the little thingy to go through to see the videos of all the people in there. The first artist that pops up is Sam Cooke on the Ed Sullivan show. Not the Ed Sullivan, excuse me. On American Bandstand with Dick Clark.
Okay.
Goes right over my head.
So it wasn't until your mom did the pass me the butter, pass me the bacon, pass me the eggs, and by the way, Sam Cooke's your daddy. So when you found that out, when you found out that he was your dad, what was your reaction?
Well, in the middle of this, I was still going through my pity party.
Pity party, because you had just lost your other eyesight.
So you can imagine, and I had a serious sense of humor even to this day. So I'm going, okay. So we wait till I'm 42 and blind to tell me this.
That's one way to look at it. Okay.
I put that in my back pocket. went back to my pity party for a while. But after I got back in, or got into the church and started serving God as a minister of music in the church, it started coming back. Okay, you remember so and so? Okay, yeah. What do we do with that, right?
Right.
I turn on the radio one day, and you can come see her and ask her, and she'll tell you. Oh, Shirley Caesar's going to be honored at Yancey's tonight.
Okay.
And the Holy Spirit goes, you got to go see her. I'm like, I don't know her. I love Jesus. Oh, how I love calling your name.
Yes.
I called an acquaintance of mine. He gets me, and at the time, my wife, we jump in to their little SUV. We go to Raleigh, right? We 5 minutes to spare. She's in a Bentley, right? We roll up to the Bentley, right? T's on my left. I'm standing there. Tap, tap, tap. Mama Caesar rolls the window down and she goes, hello, baby. I said, Mama Caesar, I understand that you knew my dad. And she goes, well, who's your dad? I'm like, okay, here we go. Sam Cooke. And she got real quiet. I'm like, it's going to be a long ride back to Rocky Mount, right?
Yeah.
She goes, take off your glasses, baby. And I said, well, your eyes ain't what they used to be due to the cataract and all of that stuff. And she goes, okay. I took my glasses off. It got quiet again. So now I'm feeling my energy. I'm feeling T's energy. And I'm going, yeah, we about to head back to Rocky Mountain. And then she says 6 words that I'll never forget.
What are they?
She says, oh my God, it is you.
Wow. So she knew you were his child.
Me and T are sitting there with our mouth open. Flies probably hovering. And then she starts to talk to us like we've known each other for 1,000 years. It was so beautiful. We actually forgot I had to go in the place she came out of because I was supposed to meet some people there that night and sing. She had to be somewhere else. So we're talking and she said, well, you know, I got a church over there, Mount Calvary, Word of Faith down in Raleigh.
Right. Yeah.
So I actually started going and started the intake classes. And one Sunday she goes, babe, I want you to do a song. I knew she was a huge fan of my dad's work.
Yes. Yes.
What I was going to sing. And then no pressure, right?
Only a little bit, right?
And she goes, well, you know, nobody's played this piano in the last 6 months since Harold died. I ain't lie to you. At that time, I didn't know who Harold was. But
right, of course, right.
No player of so many years and family and friend and everything. I'm like, no pressure. And I'm trying to be humorous, right? I go, well, you know, I'm going to make it do what it do like Ray Charles. You know, she turned to me and said,
what?
Ray Charles is dead, baby. I said, oh, I'm in trouble. So I sit at this beautiful grand piano, and then it hit me. Play the hem of his garment. And
you started playing.
I started singing the first verse. Just me and the piano, because I have no physical eyesight right now.
Right, of course.
When it gets to the chorus, the whole choir and the band drops in behind me. I literally jumped out of my seat. I'm like, you set me up. And we're just having a good time in the Lord. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is actually really freaking happening. It was.
This is, I mean, my cheeks are burning because this is literally something that wouldn't just happen in life.
You can't write it.
You cannot write. This is not something you can recreate. The way that God is connecting the dots. And with you saying Shirley Caesar, guess what a connection is there? There's a lady there named Mildred Somerville that goes to Pastor Shirley Caesar's church. Well, she came to Charlotte one time and gave my son Jeremiah an opportunity to do a debut cameo appearance in her show, Spare the Rod, Spoil the Child. And because of that performance, the mayor in Charlotte did a proclamation to make an official day on August 10th, an official day that honors Dr. Mildred Somerville. And she made it happen to include Gabriel Michael Jacobs, my son, that passed away. So part of that day of celebration on August 10th is now in loving memory of my son, Gabriel, and we formed Gabe's Heart Foundation. She goes to Pastor Shirley Caesar's church. So even that connection is unbelievable to me, that you're connected to her. I'm connected to her through Dr. Mildred Somerville, and it still allows my son's heart to beat.
And you know, Mama Caesar's 84 now.
I know.
We're in prayer because she lost Michael recently.
I heard, yes.
Minister of Music, 30, 38, 39 years, they've been going strong. So
Wow.
actually in service when she got the news. I mean, and listen, all I am is a servant. But when God gives me something, I don't keep it quiet anymore.
That's good.
Knew.
Yeah, so that's my next question, and I didn't have any scripted questions. I'm just talking to you. But what has this relationship that you now have with your dad, because he's your dad, he's been your dad for life, and whatever it is that you have to do to go back and just kind of put the pieces of the puzzle to reconnect what it means for you now. I would love to hear that when we come back. I see a lot of comments too. I want to take a moment to acknowledge. I see you, Free Thinker, put a black heart. I see someone else, Free Thinker, saying, started serving God as a minister of music in the church, and if only all musicians had that spirit. Free Thinker is thanking God for the spirit that you had.
Praise God. Yeah.
And any comments that's coming in, I'm definitely trying to make sure I acknowledge all of them. I see you saying, my goodness. Somebody saying, preach, sir. You're preaching the gospel. Don't give up. I see all of your comments. Two of my all-time favorite singers. And this person says, Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye, Bobby Womack too, except he talks mostly through his songs. Okay. My mom said, I would love to have you and your wife at any of our events. You all are welcome. And it will be a must that you grace us with your singing. Yes, yes. And then someone else said that they weren't even born in that era. I have so many memories as a child driving to Mississippi from Chicago. Somebody else said, and with my family listening to Sam Cooke for the entire 10.5-hour drive. I believe I know every word of his songs.
Oh, I want to meet you.
Yeah, so Free Thinker, he wants to meet you. Mr. Phil wants to meet you. Maybe have you come in some of his performances. Danielle Waters said good morning to you all. And lots of Michelle Henderson, good morning, saying good morning to you all. Glad to have you, Michelle. All of you that are tuning in, we're so glad to have you here today. When we come back, tell us whatever it is that you want to continue to tell us, and also maybe play something for us, because I know you're getting prepared to celebrate your dad's 60th, right?
60th release of A Change Gonna Come, February of 2024. That's our release date.
60th year release of A Change Is Gonna Come. Phil Walters is going to be performing that in honor of his dad's legacy and memory, Sam Cooke. And are you going to perform anything today for us?
I'll give you a little bit of that if you want.
Please. Well, first of all, in the studio audience, do you all want to hear just a little snippet of that? If so, drop some love in the comments. We're going to take a commercial break, and we will be right back to hear more from Phil Walters-Cooke. Thank you, Mr. Phil, for doing this over there. I'm enjoying this.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Who are those people? You know, the guys playing golf in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. The woman wearing $1,000 shoes at a cafe in the city. The kid in the ripped jeans driving a $200,000 sports car. What do they know that you don't? One word: leverage. Working smarter, not harder. Owning their own business, not being owned by a job. The good news? We have it. Interested?
Anything to drink or anything?
I could definitely use some room temperature water.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you guys too. So I want to let y'all know, give him some room temperature water, because we can hear y'all. Listen, definitely he's going to perform some for us as well. We're talking with Phil Walters-Cooke, who is the son of Sam Cooke, legendary singer Sam Cooke. And I want to make sure that you all stay connected with Mr. Phil. And how you can do that is through Instagram. I know you're setting up over there, Instagram, Phil Walters Music. Make sure you follow him there. And then also make sure that you know that you can stay connected with him. I'm trying to put this other place up here that I think you are. Yeah, here we go. Another place that you can stay connected with him as well is Phil. Let me know when you have everything ready over there. Phil Walters Music. You can stay connected with him on Instagram at Phil Walters Music. And the video that you just saw, if you want to get some answers to those kind of questions, what do these people have and what are they doing that maybe you don't know about? Email trueyougetaway@gmail.com and say, I'm interested in learning more. trueyougetaway@gmail.com. Send an email and let us know that you're interested in learning more about that episode sponsor. And I'll play this one as well. And then we're going to hear from Phil Walters.
Two things are almost certain about you. Number one, you know people who travel. Of course you do. Everybody travels. It's an $8 trillion industry. It's what people dream about doing. And number two, you probably aren't making the commission. You see, every car rental, every hotel, and every resort pays commissions. They may go to a website or to a traditional travel agent, but trust us, someone is earning it. Well, what if we could show you a way to put that commission in your pocket? It doesn't hurt to take a peek. Interested?
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We are back and we are talking with Phil Walters-Cooke. And yes, I see all of your comments. People said that they are, yes, ma'am, we ready. We would love to hear you, sir. We would love to hear you. Wow. February 2024, I will be turning 60, Michelle said. And then Gina says, hey, Uncle Phil, I'm actually tuning in from Jamaica. Dina said,
Well, my niece,
yes.
she is in Jamaica. I want to be in Jamaica.
Dina, you done got him jealous over here messing around. He's trying to get ready to perform now. You talking about you in Jamaica. All right, let's hear something from you, Phil, please.
Okay,
in honor of your dad.
Before I do, I just want to say, y'all please give a shout out and show some love to Mr. Ahmad here. This young man has agreed to be my intern. This is a first in how many times I've been on your show that somebody has been able to be around the fuss over me. And he is doing a great job. So I will.
Yes. Ahmad, thank you so much. And I mean, there were some major adjustments that had to happen in the beginning of the episode. And I'm so grateful that God blessed you to be Phil's eyes in this regard. So thank you for everything that you're doing. And I'm asking God to bless you to have all of your dreams become a reality, Ahmad. So thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Phil Walters, we've heard a lot about him and his journey and learning about his dad, legendary singer Sam Cooke. I'm going to put his image up here. What do you want to play for us? This is a blessing.
A little bit of a change gonna come, but just a little bit of little something, if that's okay with y'all.
Yes.
And before I get started with this, and I'm not trying to make everybody sad, but 60 years later almost, we're still dealing with some of the same issues which prompted that song in the first place. I'm not a big TV person, but I cut my TV on the other day, and they talked about an incident where a young man with a troubled mind walked into a Dollar Tree or dollar store and murdered 3 people. One sister was in her car, and my heart just ached so hard for her and those others and anyone. We just had an incident at UNC Chapel Hill, UNC Chapel Hill, of a shooter, and one of the instructors were killed yesterday.
And guess what, Mr. Phil? Let me stop you right there for a second. I wasn't going to talk about it, but my son is a student at UNC Chapel Hill, and my heart dropped yesterday when he called me. And this, I don't know when you're going to be watching this replay, if y'all are watching a replay, but this incident that we're talking about right now happened yesterday in this real-time situation. And my son goes to school at UNC Chapel Hill. He's in his final semester there. And the building that this happened is where he goes every day. He says he sits there and just waits between classes so that he could be able to already be on campus since he has an apartment off campus. And my son called me yesterday and told me this was the first day that he decided to miss this class because he was already getting like an A in class or whatever. So he decided to just sleep in yesterday. And that's where the shooting took place at the time he would have been there.
Wow.
That is nothing but God's grace and mercy in that situation. But then also, I believe too, no matter what the outcome is on this earth, we still in our own way win, because we're gonna go to a different area of life, and I believe in heaven. So the faculty member that got killed yesterday, I am praying for his family. I'm praying for our world. I'm praying for the community. It's crazy stuff that's happening. So a change has to come. A change has to come.
Enough is enough. It's been enough. So this song and the timing, this is God's timing. So however he dealt with my mom on this issue, it was to preserve me for today.
Yeah.
I'm a servant, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And I know that he is doing something bigger than me here. And he will get the glory.
Yes.
Amen.
Thank God.
You're done. I'm going to give you my address. You tell your son if he ever needs a place, okay? He call me, he come here. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Phil.
Amen.
Change is going to come.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Lord, just like that river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, it's been too hard to live it, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. You better believe it. Oh, I go to the movies and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me you can't come around, but I went anyway. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. We are the change. Oh, yes. Then I go to my brother. And I said, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Every time I thought I would not last long. It's been a long time coming. But I know, change got to come. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, put some love in the comments over here. I mean, you all are already putting lots of love and comments, and everyone's congratulating you, Ahmad, as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Phil, for sharing that gift that God put down on the inside of you when you were formed in your mother's womb.
Praise God.
I am so honored that you took the time to be here today.
It's my honor. It is my honor. It is my honor.
And a change really is going to come, but like you said, we are the change.
We are the change.
We're the change.
If I may share this,
Please.
I heard one of my favorite songs. There was a gathering, a memorial for the falling, for the murdered down in Florida, and they played the song "We Shall Overcome."
Yeah.
And I heard it and it touched my spirit, but I have to tell you what God put on my spirit. If we don't do it together, we ain't never overcoming nothing. Our world has gotten selfish, self-centered, right? And we have got to do this together. God has been trying to get us to work together. And this is beyond color lines.
This is way beyond some color lines. Way beyond that.
This is a battle of good and evil. That poor, listen, the ones that lost their life that day was a tragedy. And that 21-year-old who was influenced by that spirit, by the hatred that festers in some of the old spirits that are still roaming this earth, isolated that child in a room where he had to tell his dad to get a screwdriver to break that door open to get in there to read his manifesto. You have got to know what your children are doing. You're not their friend, you're their parent, and you're going to be their parent till they leave this earth. Your child should never have a door in your house that's locked and you can't get in it.
That cannot happen. Even adults that's in this house, it's like, open this door.
I will take
Open
the
door.
You won't have a door because it's our responsibility.
Yes, I agree with you. And I do respect privacy, and I think that that's important. And definitely, I don't mind knocking, but the door is going to be opened because this is the house that you're living in. And that's not going to be off limits to me. Are you crazy?
That baby was a victim too, because I know what's going on. God revealed it to me. The old hate, the old God is using these babies to carry out their dirt now. Take a good look around in the last 12 months and take a good look at these babies. 20 years old, 20 years old in Buffalo, 21 years old in Florida. This is a tactic, right? Some of the old hate are too old to get out of a wheelchair now, so they're brainwashing these children.
Well, now you're opening up a whole different conversation, and this probably is a Freestyle Friday topic.
Amen.
Only because I'm thinking that not everybody that is the people doing these type of violent acts. This is just my personal opinion. Again, these are not the views of the Kim Jacobs Show. These are our personal views, and feel free to chime in on them. And maybe we definitely need to make this a topic of discussion, because some people, they can have good parenting and good upbringing, but then they may have come into some circumstances and situations in their own walk that has twisted their minds and got them off kilter. And we don't know what that is. So it's not always, in my opinion, necessarily the old hatred or the old person that's behind the scenes that sparked them to do that.
I speak of the old hatred. I'm not going directly after the parents. These listen, the computer, the phone, they're tools. You can do great things with them, and you can do horrible things.
Right.
A child locked up in a room 18 hours a day, let's just say, and they're looking at a screen and they're being fed imagery and words. This thing will plant a seed in you.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
It's to the point now where it's not a finger point. We have to help our babies, all of them.
That's right.
All of them, regardless of the color, because the devil is sifting them like wheat.
And sometimes they don't even know that some people don't know that they have been turned over to like a reprobate mind, so for the person, it appears like it is a reality that this is what's real to me. Everyone's against me. Everyone's out to hurt me. So we don't know what is plaguing that person in their mind, but they need help, but they may not know clearly that they need it in a way that could change.
Amen.
It can change the course of all of our destinies because of those one moment in time that they're making a decision that's changing the lives of everybody else's lives. It's just it's unacceptable. It's heartbreaking. It's devastating. It's disgusting. It's sad to know that if there are some available resources for people to grab hold to, but we don't know, just like my son passed of a heart defect that we did not know existed. I didn't know it existed. So you can't help a situation you don't even know is there in a particular person.
Absolutely.
You can only react after you see, oh, what? I didn't know that person had that capability or that potential of doing something like that. So this is a really, somebody said, I really love where this conversation is going. We need to do an episode, Phil. You're going to come back hopefully on that episode when we do Freestyle Friday talking about something like this. Will you agree?
I would love to. But, I'll just say this quickly. The song segues into the conversation. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The song was written. Listen to those words again. And I will say this quickly. The part where he wrote, I don't know what's up there beyond the sky, that's a lie. He wrote that because of being frustrated, right? Being oppressed, feeling a sense of hopelessness. He was speaking for a whole nation of people.
That's right.
Being a voice who did not have a voice. So it was basically saying, I'm getting so frustrated. Do I really know what's beyond the sky? Because what's going on about this wonderful God that I've been singing with the Soul Stirrers and the Highway QC,
right?
My dad's church. Where is he? He is here. But the enemy wants to make you think he's not. God is waiting for us to get up together. Let all the believers come together and work together in unity to make not this nation, but the world a better place. Because I'm 60. I'm more concerned about our children and our grandchildren. I got more past than I do future. What I do from this day forth matters in the eyes of God as far as what am I going to do about what I see. I don't want to whine and be on the couch eating bonbons. I want to get in the game. But I want to do it in a way that God would be pleased with.
That's most important. That's most important, is being pleasing in his sight and knowing that what I'm doing is going to help make a difference, not just for my life, but for the lives of my children and even people that I don't even know.
Children.
Their children, the community, the world. Just anything that God allows me to touch, I want it to be able to be a blessing to other people as well, not just for me, because it's not about me.
Amen.
Wow. All right, listen, people, you all often ask, how do you contribute to keep this show thriving? Monday through Friday, we actually have the show at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can donate through Cash App, Kim Jacobs Inc., or through paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc., Venmo at The Kim Jacobs Show, or we have what's called a Patreon membership, where I go live and do just very private things that I never share in this public format, but you get behind the scenes information on patreon.com, The Kim Jacobs Show. It's a monthly membership, and I encourage you to be a part of our Patreon membership. Staying connected with Mr. Phil here. How can they stay connected with you? Phil Walters-Cooke, son of legendary singer Sam Cooke.
Praise God. Phil Walters Music on Instagram. Phil Walters on Facebook. I don't use the Cook there because I keep getting people asking for money. They're cousins from England, across the pond. But anyway, forgive me, y'all. I have to update my website, but that is philwaltersmusic.com. I have my own music out there as well on all streaming platforms under Philip Walters and Phil Walters. I would be honored if you would follow my journey. I have videos on Facebook where I'm in the recording studio. Did you play that before the show started, by the way?
I put it on all of the social media outlets, the one with you in the Sheffield studio.
And thank you. That write-up you did, I was about in tears. I said, oh my gosh, is she talking about me?
Well, that write-up, actually, one of my team members, Cassandra Davis, and she's always been with me for many, many years. She actually did that write-up. So just a shout out to you, Cassandra.
I was sitting back there going, that guy sounds like he halfway decent.
Yeah. So it's always good to be able to recognize your team members when they're contributing at the level that my team members do. So thank you for that compliment. And I'll make sure she hears that. All right. Listen. Also know that today's episode was sponsored by attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. They're in the Carolinas area. They're also in the Richmond, Virginia area and the Alabama area. If you're dealing with disability claims, any kind of workers' compensation claim, wrongful death of a loved one, reach out to them 704-457-5000 and let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. Our other episode sponsor is Dr. Jody Bear with Confidence Tones. People that have gotten those confidence tones are loving them. So go check them out. drjod.com/confidence-tones. And if you're interested in learning more about the travel industry and how you can benefit from this yourself, all you have to do is send an email saying, I'm interested, trueyougetaway@gmail.com, trueyougetaway@gmail.com. That's today's episode, everyone. I am thrilled that you tuned in today and look forward to you coming back, Mr. Phil.
My honor. It's my honor.
Is there any closing comment or thing that you're like, dog, I didn't say this and I wanted to say it and I forgot to say it? Say it now.
Well, two things quickly. Shout out to my home church, Greater Love Church, Bishop Spencer and his first lady and his wife of 40 years. They get ready to celebrate.
Way to represent.
Also, please pray. I've been going around trying to get somebody to pick up the Sam Cooke movie. It's time for him to get on the big screen, for his story to be told, like Aretha, like Ray, so many others who he knew and worked with. So please pray that will come to pass in my lifetime, because I really want him to have that opportunity to have his story told on the big screen.
Well, thank you for trusting the Kim Jacobs Show to have your story shared. And I know that you'll come back, I'm assuming, because you've been a part of our family.
You already know.
So hopefully you'll come back again, and we definitely gonna have you come back to do a talk about what we're talking about here. Some people
do a Patreon together, back behind the scenes, and get everybody to come to Patreon, and we got to do that one day.
The Patreon, if you become a Patreon member, we could do a behind the scenes exclusive, just real deep dive, like we're talking about raw candy. Well, you can't see me, Mr. Phil, but I'm over here with my glasses turned sideways, leaning in on the camera, telling everybody just a deep dive behind the scenes after party kind of discussion, after show. All right, let's see. Dana said real quick, let's see. Awesome show. And same here. Michelle said they can't wait. They definitely feel like this is a show that we need to talk about. But this show today definitely blessed me, is what Michelle said. Jerry Perkins said, good morning, Kim. Yes, I love Malcolm X. And when are we going to stand up? When are we going to stand up? I see you saying, free thinker, that you're praising God. Lots of shout outs to you, Ahmad, saying that they are so grateful for everything that you did. Let me put, Michelle said, free thinker said, great job, Ahmad. Congratulations, Ahmad. This has been an awesome show. To God be the glory. I see all of your comments. So Ahmad, maybe you can go back and comment on some of these comments that's been coming in. But thank you all for your active participation. Have a great rest of your day. We have a new episode lined up for you throughout the rest of this week. So be sure to tune in and be in your virtual seats at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great one, Mr. Phil.
You too. God bless you. God bless you all. Take care of yourself.
Have a great one. Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time.